Hi, thanks for joining me for today's online session. If the name hasn't given it away yet, it's all about the hips. We're going to start standing, so come and join me on your mat. Bring your feet hip distance apart. Stand up nice and tall. Just close your eyes for a moment. And feel the mat beneath your feet. And just feel the connection, the big toe, the little toe, the heels. Take a nice deep breath in and think about pulling that breath up the legs, just lifting the kneecaps, tightening the muscles in the thighs. Feel the glutes slightly engage and just bring your awareness towards the pelvis as you let that breath go. Just making sure that your pelvis is in that neutral position as you take your next breath in. Think about that core engagement. So we lift up those deepest core muscles, scoop belly button in and up, and just breathing that length into the torso. Let that breath go, but keep that connection. We're going to give the shoulders a nice big roll, draw them up towards the ears, back, and then slide them down towards your back pockets. And then just draw your head back. Imagine that you were lining yourself up against an imaginary wall, lifting out through the crown of your head. We're going to take a breath in, bring the arms up. Exhale, let them go. Two more like that, breathing in and breathing out. Just bringing the breath and the movement together. Just keeping the arms by the sides. As you take your breath in, allow the chin to drop to the chest. Pause for a moment to enjoy that stretch down the neck and across the shoulder blades. And then as you release that breath, let the weight of the head start to round you forward. Shoulders, upper back, scooping belly in and up as you come forward through middle back, lower back. Softening the knees here as much as you need to if those hamstrings are feeling tight like mine. Take a breath at the bottom and then exhale. We lift from the center using the core. Just stacking the vertebra again through low back, middle back, upper back. Drawing the shoulders back and the eye gaze forward. Let's do another 3 of those. In your own time, follow your breath. As you fold forward, think about lifting up through those back ribs, keeping the hips over the heels. And then just stacking back up against that imaginary wall. Or let any tension, any control in the arms just go. Let them hang. Last one. As you finish, just bring it to the top of your mat, length of your mat in front of you, feet hip distance apart, just find length in the spine. We take a nice breath in. We're going to do a roll down to plank, so just nodding the head, chin to chest. Same thing, softening through the knees, lifting through the upper ribs, rounding forward without pushing those hips back. Bend the knees if you need to get the hands onto the mat, and we're going to walk it out into that plank, that front support. And then we're going to pike the hips back up, walk the hands back in, and slowly roll back up. Good, we're going to do 3 more of those. Again, let your breath guide your pace. Doesn't matter if you're slightly slower or a different pace to me. Walk it out. And when you come into that front support, that plank position, if you need to, you can drop the knees, pike the hips back up, using the core to really lift the hips, and rolling up. Just getting nice warmth through the whole body. 2 more. We're going to hold our plank a little bit longer for these last two. Just focus on our position here. So really lifting those thighs up, bracing the abdominals, lengthening out through the tail, through the top of the head. Push the floor away. Strong position. And then lifting from your center. Use your abdominal muscles to lift the hips. Walk the hands back. Land the heels. And uncurl. Let's do that one more time. Find that front support. Hold strong. You can stay static here, or you can bring the weight forward, coming onto the tiptoes, shoulders coming forward of the wrists, and then push the heels back without the hips coming up. Remember, your option is to not move, to keep passive, or to drop the knees. So right the way through today's class, we're going to be focusing on active and passive stretches. Hold it here, pike the hips up, walk the hands in, and slowly uncurl. Good job. All right, from here, we're going to take it up to the top of the mat, so that the length of mat is behind us now. We're going to work through a little sequence of moves. Again, focusing on warming the whole body. So we're going to take a breath in and bring the arms up overhead. Palms come together. As you exhale, bring the hands down through the center. Press the hips back. Keep the spine long as you fold forward, softening the knees into your forward fold. We're going to slide the hands up the shins into a flat back extension. So really scooping and lifting with the core. Push the hips back, crown of the head forward, and then release into your fold. Leg closest to the screen is going to step back into a high lunge. And then we're going to step the other leg back, coming into down dog. Taking it nice and slowly for this first one. So really think about tipping the sit bones up to the sky, pressing the chest through towards the thighs. Heels don't have to touch the floor, and if you're tightening your hamstrings, you can bend your knees here as well. And then we're going to float through into plank. So think about flexing the spine, rounding, come up onto your tippy toes, coming through into that plank position. Bring the knees down, soften the tops of the feet. Then we're going to lower the chest down between the hands. So keeping the elbows in tight by the ribs. Lower down, keeping the spine long. From here, we're going to lift into a baby swan. Pushing the floor away. Press the sternum forward. So the ribs lift. Drawing the shoulders back. And then release. We're going to take a breath as you exhale, lifting up. Pressing back into your rest position. Coming forward again, tuck the toes, lift the hips into your down dog. So the same leg closest to the screen is going to step forward. If you find it just comes to here, that's no problem. Just take hold of your ankle and walk it forward. So we're in that high lunge again. Then we're going to step towards the top of the mat into your fold. Slide the hands up the shins into that flat back. Release to your fold. And then we're going to come up. So just reaching the arms back as you uncurl the spine. Bringing the arms overhead and draw them back down. All right, so we're going to do that a couple more times. Take a breath in as you bring the arms up, palms come together. Exhale, bring the hands down towards the heart, folding forward. Hands to floor into your forward fold. Slide the hands up the shins into flat back. Release to your fold. Leg furthest away from the screen this time. Steps back, high lunge. Picking up the pace a little bit this time. Step back into your down dog. Coming up onto the tiptoes, flexing through the spine. Just imagine moving the body like a wave. Coming into that plank position. Knees come down, soften feet. Lowering the chest between the hands, keeping the spine low. Lifting into that swan, draw the shoulder blades down the back, press the sternum forward. Release the swan. Pressing back into rest. Child's pose. Coming forward once again, shoulders over wrists, tuck the toes. Push back up into your down dog. Leg furthest away from the screen, steps forward. Again, remember, help it if you need to, into that high lunge. Step up to the front of the mat, forward fold. Hands to shins, flat back. Release to fold. Root to rise. Release the hands. You're halfway there. One more each side. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, finish the fold. Leg closest to the screen, steps back, high lunge. Step back into down dog. Flex and lift up onto the tiptoes, round the spine into that plank. Knees come down, feet soften, chest lowers. Keep those elbows sliding past ribs, elbows go back. Draw the shoulders back. Press the sternum forward, swan. You start to lift a little bit higher as the body warms up. Release back down. Press back to rest. Reaching forward, shoulders over wrists. Tuck toes, press back to down dog. Leg closest to the screen, steps forward. High lunge. Step to the top of the mat, forward fold. Hands to shins, flat back. Release your fold. Lift, root to rise. Exhale to release. So we've got one more round. Just going to focus on the breath with this one, breathing in. Breathing out as you dive forward. Breathing into flat back. Breathing out, finish the fold. Breathing in, leg furthest away from the screen, steps back. High lunge. Breathing out, step back to your down dog. Breathing in, heels lift, round the spine. Plank. Breathing out, knees down, lower the chest, slow. Draw the shoulders back, lifting into swan. Breathe out as you release. Breathe in, press back to rest. Breathe out, shoot forward over wrists. Breathe in, tap toes, lift hips. Breathe out, leg furthest away, steps forward. Breathe in, step to the top of the mat. Breathe out, flat back, Breathe in, finish the fold. And breathe out, root to rise. And then just slowly release the arms down by your side. Good job. All right, we're going to take it into a little bit of work. We're going to start with working. I'm going to start on my right leg, so if you want to start on your right leg as well, I'm going to take a breath in, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold it forward. And take the right leg and step it back into that high lunge. So we're going to do some active stretching here first. So just think about pressing the hips forward and then pressing back a little. So press into that stretch and then lift the hips a little. Forward and back. So think about keeping the pelvis level and almost think about trying to draw your thighs together. Hands are light on the mat. So little movements, just a couple of inches deeper into the stretch and then a couple of inches to just lift out of it. 2 more like that. And then we're going to hold passive stretch. Think about pushing that back heel out. Back leg is straight, really lifting up that kneecap and thigh. Front leg, we've got the knee over the ankle. So you just want to make sure that that knee isn't jutting out over the foot. And hands are light, so we're not sinking into that front leg. And then release the back knee, soften the foot. We're going to reach the arms behind us and then draw up, arms towards the sky. So from here, think about a slight tuck of the tail. So you're taking a slight posterior tilt of the pelvis and you're going to feel that great stretch into the psoas of the hip flexors. So just focus on that first of all. And then we're going to draw the hips towards that front heel. So we're pushing the hips down and forward, bringing the arms wide. And then just release a little. Come forward and release. So we don't want to be dumping into the low back here. So really think about keeping strong and pushing that pelvis forward. 4 more. Again, pelvis is square and we're trying to draw those inner thighs together. And then this time we're going to hold it here. You can let your hands rest on your thigh if you want. And just breathe. And each time you release that breath, just think about letting those hips sink a little deeper, keeping the core switched on. We're going to release the hands to the floor. So your foot that you have in front, my left leg, just going to walk it out. I'm just going to turn my toes out and then turn my heels out. So it comes to the edge of the mat. You want to have your toes slightly out, maybe off the mat, and your hands are inside. So coming into a lizard lunge. I'm just holding here. Feeling that stretch into the hips. Keep the spine nice and long. Try not to sink. So actively pushing the floor away. If you want to, provided your hips feeling okay, the hand closest. So my left hand is my left foot that's in front. My left hand is going to go onto the inside of my left thigh. I'm just going to open that hip a little bit more. If that doesn't feel right for you, just keep the hands to the floor. But if it feels okay for you, your hand just comes to the inside of the thigh and we just open and turn into that stretch a little bit more. Breathe, spine long. If you came with me, just release, bring both hands to the mat. We're going to walk that foot in so that you can take your left hand now to the outside of the left foot. We're back in that low lunge. And then we're going to bring the weight back. So we start to transfer the hips back. So we want to bring the hip over the knee. Front leg straightens and we pull the toes up. If you can, come up tall, bring your hands to your hips. And then we're going to hinge forward, keeping the spine long. Hands can stay by your hips, or if you're losing balance like me, just bring your hands to the mat. Even if you think that foot is flexed, I want you to flex it even more. We're going to breathe in and lift, breathe out and fold. Breathe in and lift, breathe out and fold. Hold it here. So we're going to keep the hands where they are on the mat, and we're going to transition between low lunge and half split. So we're going to travel the weight forward, foot comes down, and press the hips forward into that low lunge, and then press back, front leg straightens. Flex the front foot, hip over knee. We need to think about pulling that left hip crease back, because that left hip's going to want to go forward and that right hip's going to want to go back. So we want to try to level the pelvis. Keeping that pelvis level. Transfer forward into low lunge. Transfer back into half split. Keeping the spine low. Forward. Back. 3 more. What about the core? Are you keeping it engaged? Really lifting from your center. And then just hold your half split. Take a breath in. As you exhale, just see if you can fold a little more forward. We're going to take 5 breaths here, keeping the spine long. So from here, we're going to come into pigeon, but I want us to get into this movement safely. So to do that, just bring yourself down into a 90-90 position with the legs. That left leg is still in front. Okay, so the front foot, we've got bent at a 90-degree angle. You can bring the heel in a little bit closer if it feels better for your hip. So option, you turn the chest over that front leg. Option is to keep the back leg bent, and we're just going to come into that pigeon. So your choice is to stay here. A little bit more intense is we're going to take that back leg, that right leg out behind us, lifting up off the left hip, and then sink down into the mat. And stay high for a moment or two here. So if you need to move your heel in closer to your groin, that's okay. The more advanced the move, the more that front leg is at 90 degrees. I'm going to keep my heel in today. That's how my hips are feeling. Trying to bring that left hip crease back. The pelvis is as level as possible. Just sinking into that stretch. You can stay high, or you can come down onto the forearms. Keeping the spine nice and long. Level 2. Level 3 is to come all the way down to your sleeping pigeon. One more breath here. As you exhale, start to walk the hands in. If you're on your forearms, lift back up. And then to come out of this stretch safely, we're just going to drop onto that left hip. And come back into that 90-90 with the legs. So take it up into 4-point kneeling. We're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips, holding in your down dog. And then from here, we're going to step the leg closest to the screen, up. And we're going to come in to that high lunge again. So think about, again, just lifting the hips a little and then lowering. Lift, lower. Pushing that heel away, the back leg, lifting the kneecap, the thigh up, front leg, knee is over ankle. Remember, if you find yourself back here, just take hold of that foot, walk it forward. Lift the hips an inch, press forward an inch. So we want to push that pubic bone down and forward towards that front heel. 2 more like that. And then we're going to hold our high lunge and breathe. Remember, try to draw the thighs together, keep the hands light, chest lifted, spine long. I'm going to drop that back knee, soften the back foot, come up, lift the arms up. Remember that little tuck of the tail, so we want to take that posterior tilt of the pelvis, feel the stretch in the psoas. The hip flexors reach the arms up, and as we draw the hips forward, we bring the arms wide, and then lift. Exhale, inhale. Four more. And hold, hand to thigh. I'm going to bring the hands down to the inside of that right foot. I'm just going to walk my toes, my heels out, and then my toes again. So my foot is at a slight angle, my toes are just off the mat, my hands are inside. So my right knee is hugging in against my right shoulder. We're coming into that lizard stretch. So just breathing into it, letting the hips drop, keeping the core engaged and the spine long. So again, remember not to sink into this stretch. Keep length in your spine. Just feel that amazing stretch into the hips. If it feels right for you, your right hand is going to come into the inside of your right thigh, and you're just going to open that hip, turn the chest towards the thigh. Just deepen that stretch. If this doesn't feel right for you, just stay in your lizard. Don't forget to breathe. That was a reminder for me as much as anyone else. Keep the neck relaxed. I'm going to release that. Bring my hands down, walk the foot in so that the hand then comes and frames that front foot. Then we're going to draw the weight back so that that left hip is going to come over the left knee, front foot flexes, and we come into that half split position and just lift up. And then we're going to fold forward and lift up. Exhale. Remember, we want to pull that right hip crease back trying to bring the pelvis into alignment. And lift. Coming down into that half split, we're going to move between low lunge and half split. Hands stay to the mat. We bring that weight forward into the low lunge. And then press back to the half split. Forward. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And then hold your half split. Take a breath, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, let's sink down over that leg. We're going to hold it here for 5 breaths. Pulling that hip crease back. Drawing that foot up. And then release. We're going to come into that 90-90 position. So just dropping down onto the hip. Right leg is in front, left leg is behind, 90-90. Remember, you can stay 90-90. Just turn your chest to the front, into your pigeon from here. Otherwise, we're going to swing that left leg out behind us, lift the hip. Choose the position of that front foot, and then sink the hips down. So we're not dropped onto one hip here. We lift and square the pelvis and then sink. Remember your options here. You can stay up. Just check that that back leg is in the middle of the mat. Option number 1 is to stay high. Option number 2, down onto those forearms. You've got 5 breaths, or option number 3 is to sink all the way up. If you're down with me, just come back onto the forearms. And then from the forearms, we're going to come up. Now we're going to drop onto that right sit bone to bring the legs back to 90-90. Plant the hands. Come through to 4-point kneeling. Do you know what might feel just nice here is just to pedal the feet. Step 1 foot back. Step the other back. Just reaching and reaching. Press back into rest. Bring yourself back into 4-point kneeling. Tuck the toes. We're going to pike the hips back up into your down dog. And hold it here. And let's just walk that down dog. Alright, so just alternate heel raises. Just at your own pace. Tipping the sit bones up to the sky, pressing the chest through towards the thighs. And then bring both heels down to the mat, or towards the mat as much as you can. We're going to start to walk the hands towards the feet. And then from here, we're going to very slowly roll up. So take your time. You think you're going slow? Go twice as slow again. Oh, shaky legs. Oh. As you come up, just draw those shoulders back. Give the legs a shake. Well done. All right, coming to the center of your mat. We're going to step wide. So take the feet out wide, and then think about externally rotating the hips. So the toes are turned out towards the corners of the mat. Hands onto hips, spine long. We lift up through our center, slight tuck of the tail, nice long spine, and then sink into your wide leg squat. Think about drawing the thighs together, weight into the heels as you draw back up. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. 5 more. Keeping the chest up, shoulders back. We're going to hold it here. Take the arms out wide, palms facing forward. Draw the elbows down into your goddess pose. Think strong. We're opening those thighs out. Knees are tracking over the middle 2 toes. Arms are wide. Spine is long. And then we're going to draw the thighs together. Press up through the heels as you bring the palms together at the top. And sink. Breathing in, breathing out. Three more. Last one. Bring the hands to the hips. Hold it here and breathe. Can you sink a little lower? One more breath and draw it up. Good job. All right, we're going to keep these feet, the legs nice and wide. We're just going to bend into one knee and straighten, and then bend into the other. So as you do that, let's push the hips back, bring the chest forward. Lift up tall, push back. So again, you want to think about drawing that knee out. Don't let it fall in. Can we hinge? Bring the hands down to the floor if you're able to. Same movement, just a little bit deeper. If this doesn't feel right for you, just stay up. Drop. You're going to get a gorgeous stretch into those inner thighs. We hold so much tension and tightness in the hips. Not just physical, but emotional. Two more, one more each side. Slowly from here, let's roll up. Keeping the legs wide, we're going to turn the toes in. So the feet are facing forward, maybe even ever so slightly toes in, heels out. And we're going to have the hands on the waist and just hinge forward to flat back. And then draw back up. Inhale, hinge, halfway. Exhale. Pushing through those outer edges of the feet. Press the hips back. 4 more. This is our last standing pose. And then this time you can pause it here if that's enough for you, or you can come all the way down. So if you need to make an adjustment, you can make the feet wider, narrower, whatever feels right. We can have the hands on the mat. Just take a breath, lift up, lengthen the spine, and then keeping the spine long as you exhale and fold forward. So you can stay where you are. You're pressing down through the outsides of the feet. If you want a little bit more, just take your peace fingers around your big toes and stretch. We hold it here for 5 breaths. If you took your fingers around your toes, just bring your hands back into the center. If you're in a very wide position like me, just walk the feet in a little and then slowly roll it up and then just heel toe the feet back in. Good job. All right, we're going to come down onto the mat. So just ease yourself down. Oh, how good does that feel? We're going to take it down into a lying position. So let's use our core muscles to bring us there. We're going to round the spine down, one vertebra at a time, into a lying position on the mat. All right, so let's bring the leg closest to the screen. So my right leg is going to come in towards my chest. Depending on how your lower back's feeling, we're going to go in for some leg circles here. So if your lower back's feeling tender, you can keep that supporting leg bent. Otherwise, I'm going to take it long. Hug that knee in. Think about your core engagement, your spine long, so not letting that posterior tuck of the tail. Keeping the spine nice and long. And then let go. Reach the leg up, and we're going to circle. Keeping the pelvis nice and quiet. 2 more. And reverse it for 6. Bend that knee back into the chest. Place the foot on the floor. Let's change sides, hugging the left knee in. Choosing your option, right leg can stay bent or take it straight. Left leg comes up. And circle. Keeping the core strong, keeping the pelvis steady. And reverse it for 6. Three, 2, 1. Hug that knee in. And then place the foot on the floor. Okay, so just bending both knees. I'm going to do a little bit of a windscreen wiper variation. It's a gorgeous stretch into the hips. Hoping that I am fully in screen. I'm just going to move over towards the edge of my mat. What we're going to do first of all is just take some gentle hip rolls side to side. So bringing the knees together, just drop the knees towards the screen. Exhale, working from your center, so pulling those back ribs down towards the mat, rather than just using momentum or using your legs. So knees go to the left. I'm focusing on bringing those right back ribs, right obliques, to draw through center. Taking my knees to the right. So then I'm thinking about my left obliques, left back ribs, pulling down, using your core. 2 more each direction. Inhale over. Exhale back. Inhale over, keeping the thighs together, keeping the sides of the feet together. Exhale back. Inhale over. Exhale back. Inhale over. Exhale back. Okay, so from here, bracing the abdominals, we're going to bring the knees over the hips. I want you to keep the leg furthest from the screen steady. So we're going to separate the legs so the knees are over the hips. My goodness, my legs are shaking. Brace the abdominals. We're going to take the leg closest to the screen and just open it out as much as you can while still keeping the supporting leg nice 90-degree angle, knee over hip. Brace your abdominals. Use your inner thighs and your core muscles to draw back up. Leg furthest away. Goodness me, my muscles are shaking. The left leg opens out as far as you can without moving that supporting side. Exhale, core engaged, inner thigh squeeze. Do one more each side. Inhale, open. If this is too intense, by the way, you can have your feet on the floor here. That's always an option if it gets too much, if you're too shaky. You've done a lot already. Other side. All right, this is where it gets interesting. My legs. I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but it's really ridiculous. We're going to take the leg closest to the screen, open it out as far as you can go, and then the other leg is going to come over to join. So legs come together, opposite shoulder anchors into the mat, and just look down the back arm. Oh, beautiful stretch. Bring the head back to center. Bring the top leg back. Start to bring it as much as you can over the hip. When you need to lift the bottom, bottom comes up. We come back to start position. Now back leg leads, back leg heads towards the floor. Keep the front leg still for as long as you can. Then when it has to lift, it comes over too. Legs come together. Look down the front arm. Both shoulders stay on the mat. If you feel like you can't get your legs all the way over, what you can do is use a cushion, maybe under each side. So you can always pause, go and grab a cushion, 2 cushions from the sofa, and just use them, but your legs can land on them. Bring the head back to center. Brace the abdominals. Start to bring the front leg up as much as you can. When the back one needs to lift, it comes up too. Back to center, brace. Front leg starts to move. When it goes as far as it can, back leg comes to join. Take the head and look the opposite direction. Feet come together, legs come together. Head comes to center, top leg lifts. Yes, we're really opening into the hips here, but the core is so important. Keep braced, keep strong. Use the abdominals. Come back up. The last time, back leg goes first. So we're trying to keep that supporting hip still for as long as you can, and then it lifts. Looking down the front arm. How good are these? I would like it a lot better if my lower body wasn't reacting quite the way it is today. And it shows we're working hard, right? And bring the other leg back up. Hug the knees into the chest. Just holding onto your kneecaps. We're going to take the knees into the chest. Separate the legs. They go out wide. Push away and come back together. So just circling the knees. Good. So we're not done. We're nearly done, but not just yet. All right, let's reverse that. So push the knees away, take them out wide, draw them in towards the chest as they come together. Push away. wide in. So you might want to keep hold of those cushions. I'm going to bring one foot down and then the other foot down. And then just take it over onto your side for a moment. And then come up into a kneeling position. So we're going to come into a frog stretch. Another great stretch for the hips. Pretty intense, so just listen to your body. You don't have to go deep into this stretch. And if you want to have a couple of cushions in front of you to prop yourself on, feel free to do that. So we're going to bring the hands forward. And then what we're going to do is take the knees out wide. Not too wide to start with. You want to check that your ankles are in line with your knees. So you don't want your feet together behind you. You want your feet out and flexed so that they're in a nice, if I turn to the side so you can see, you've got a nice right angle of knee to ankle and foot is flexed. So in that frog position, you can choose, you want to push back slightly so your hips are in line with your knees. If your weight is too far forward, you're not going to feel the stretch. The more you push the hips back, the more you're going to feel the stretch. Oh, I love this one. Spine is long, core is switched on. You can have cushions underneath your hips if that feels right for you. You can have cushions underneath your chest. You can stay high or you can come down onto the forearms. And we're just going to stay here and breathe. These are intense stretches. Think about your core. Think about lifting up from your center to protect your low back. And each time you exhale, if you feel, you should feel the hips give a little with each exhale. You don't have to sink any deeper into the stretch, but just use the breath. There should not be any pain in this stretch. Discomfort in the muscle stretching, yes, but no pain. If it gets too intense, remember, come up onto the hands, bring the knees in a little bit closer. Do not force this one. And then as you breathe in, bring the weight ever so slightly forward. And as you breathe out, push the hips back a little. Not much, small movement, maybe an inch forward, an inch back. So moving to more of an active stretch. Two more. I'm going to be very careful coming out of this. So just come back up onto the hands and just gently slide one knee in a little and then the other knee in a little. One and then the other. And then come through to seated on your mat. And we're going to bring ourselves into a wide leg fold. So taking the legs out wide. Sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to bring my left foot in towards my right thigh. And just allow that left knee to drop down towards the floor. You can always again put a little cushion or a block or something underneath that knee if you want to. Chest is facing forward at the moment. And then we're going to turn the chest. So think about bringing the sternum over that extended leg. And then we're just going to walk down over the leg and walk back up. Lifting tall. Lift and lengthen the spine first as you breathe in. Exhale, walk forward. Breathe in and hold. Exhale, walk up. Breath in at the top. Breath out. Breath in at the bottom. Breath out. One more like that. And then this time we're going to come forward and hold forward. Breath in at the top, lengthen the spine. Really use the core, those rotator muscles, to draw those ribs across so that you keep that rotation as you come down. You can reach for the shin, the ankle, lace the fingers, draw around the foot, whatever feels right for you, but keep that spine long and hinge forward. 5 breaths. Slowly release. Walk back up. Down to the front. I'm going to change sides. So starting facing front. Maybe you can prop a cushion or block under that knee if you need to. And then let's really work from the waist to rotate. And we're going to walk down. Just notice the difference from one side to the other. I'm holding a little bit of an injury into this left side. So for me, there's definitely not as much movement here. Take that preparation breath at the top where we keep the spine long. And then as you exhale, hinging forward, trying to keep that spine not collapsing over the leg. Breath in at the bottom. Breath out as you come up. Breath in at the top. Okay, and this time we're going to come down and stay down. Big breath in. Exhale, folding forward. Again, choose. You can hold to your calf, to your ankle, lace. You can just about do that on this side, but I'm not going to force it. So I'm going to hold my leg this side and 5 breaths here. And just use that out breath to sink a little deeper. Last breath in here, and as you exhale, just slowly walk it back up. Turn to face front. We're going to bring both legs out now as wide as you can, sitting up nice and tall. We need to think about really opening and externally rotating from the hips so that your knees and your feet aren't falling in. So just think about really opening out. Keep opening out, hands to hips. And as you exhale, we're going to hinge forward, keeping the spine long. Inhale, come back up. If this is too intense, bend the knees a little, hands to floor. Same thing, hinge forward a bit and up a bit. So you choose what feels right for you. 4 more like that. So we're not rounding and collapsing forward. We're keeping length from tail to crown of the head as we hinge forward. Three more. Keep externally rotating. Last one, we're going to hold it forward. And just bring the hands in front and hold that stretch for 5 breaths. keeping the spine long, drawing the shoulders down the back. And then gently walk it up. I'm going to take a side bend. So just reaching that left arm up. Reach that right arm through as you take it across. So you want to keep the chest open. Draw that left shoulder back and reach through that right arm as you come across. And come back up. Let's change sides. Right arm reaches up, left arm reaches through, lift the ribs away from the waist. Reach. And center. Draw that top shoulder back. You're going to want to feel like collapsing, so keep open here. Keep externally rotating those legs. One more. Try to keep the sit bones anchored as well. And release. Just bring the hands underneath the thighs. Bend the legs a little. Slowly come in here. I'm going to do a seated figure 4 stretch. If seated doesn't feel right for you, you can take it down to lying on your back. I'm just going to bring my hands behind me. Take the leg furthest away from the screen. Flex the foot, hook it across the opposite thigh. And then lift the chest, lengthen the spine. Open that hip out to the side. We keep the hips level and then open out. And the more you walk that top foot in, the closer your chest is, the more intense the stretch. So you choose further away, closer in. But really press and lift and lengthen the spine. Five breaths. So just take that foot away first, gently uncross. Leg closest to the screen is going to lift up, flex, hook across the opposite, and then choose how far to bring that. Oh, choose how far to bring that foot in. Lift and lengthen the spine. This side does not want to go here at all. 5 breaths. Slide the foot away, uncross the legs, just coming back to face front, soles of the feet together, make a diamond with the legs. Hands can rest on shins, ankles or peace fingers around big toes. Find length in your spine first, and then exhale, just sink forward. We're going to roll back up. Nice active movement first. Straight spine as you fold forward, and then rounding the spine as you come up. Straight as you come forward. Round as you come up. 3 more like that. And then we're going to hold this one forward. And breathe it here. 5 breaths. Just let those knees fall out to the side. You can have your cushions either side of your knees here if it feels better. Final big breath in. Exhale, slowly roll back up. Reach the arms out wide. Take a big breath, catch it at the top. Exhale, hands to heart. And we're finished. Well done. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're keeping well, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Take care. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more sessions like this. You can also follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram. And if you would like access to over 60 full-length Pilates classes, join me at North Down Pilates on my Patreon channel. Thanks for watching.